I have attention to call the meeting to order. For the record, the media has been notified in accordance with the requirements of Freedom of Information Act and the quorum present. We do have several board members participating by phone, Paul Dove, Eddie Gunn, Patricia Hartung, and George McIntyre. Roll call, please.
Ms. Faulkner?
Here.
Mr. Bryson?
Here.
Mr. Coleman?
Here.
Mr. Dove? Dr. Gosher?
He's here. Here.
Mr. Freeman?
Here.
Mr. Gunn? Ms. Hartung? Mr. Jackson?
Here.
Mr. Jones?
Here.
Ms. Leatherman?
Here.
Mr. Lee?
Here.
Mr. McIntyre? Mr. Moore?
He's here. McIntyre's here.
Dr. Kelly?
You heard Mr. McIntyre was in it.
Thank you. You've had an opportunity to review the minutes. Any additions or changes to the minutes?
Move that be approved as presented.
Thank you. Trustee W. Coleman moved. I have a second.
Second.
Trustee Leatherman. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the minutes stand approved. Committee reports, executive affairs. We met and discussed a number of issues today. No action was taken, and most of those the president will cover during his report. Moving on, Academic Affairs and Accreditation, Mr. Trustee Mark Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today the committee heard from the chair of the faculty, Dr. Sharon O'Kelly, who reported that the academic year began with 11 new full-time faculty members. In his enrollment management report, Dr. Rowan reported that fall 2025 enrollment was up over 3% from last year. The total number of students for fall 2025 is 4,245. This fall, the Office of Admissions is hosting 2 open house events and 2 showcase Saturday events as part of their recruiting cycle for fall 2026. In addition, the Office of Financial Assistance is hosting a FAFSA workshop for students and families. We also heard from Dr. Jennifer Tatansky Hooper with an update on the activities of the McNair Institute. There are 2 new McNair scholars for the 2025-2026 academic year, Nadia Latchker from South Florence High School and Savannah Pierce from Somerville High School. There are also 10 new Darla Moore scholars this fall. Dr. Tatansky Hooper also reported that Dr. Tobias Lemke from the Political Science Department and Dr. Christine Masters from the English Department have been appointed as faculty research fellows for the academic year. Dr. Lemke's research will focus on legislative politics, and Dr. Masters' research will focus on artificial intelligence. Additionally, the McNair Institute has welcomed Benjamin Ziegler and Carl Humphreys as visiting fellows. Ziegler will provide support for building research and outreach in colonial history, and Humphreys will provide expertise for the new social work program. Finally, we heard from each academic dean about the work going on in their areas. Each reported the impressive research and activities being conducted by faculty and students over the summer. Just a few highlights: 4 health physics majors were selected in a national competition to receive scholarships worth $10,000 from the U.S. Department of Energy's Nuclear Energy University program. Only 40 scholarships are awarded each year to students across the country. Also, the School of Business reported that this summer they were informed by AACSB International Board of Directors that their accreditation has been extended until 2031. And finally, the School of Health Sciences reported that the nursing program was recognized as a National League for Nursing Center of Excellence in the category of promoting pedagogical expertise of faculty. FMU is one of only 6 schools to earn this designation this year and one of only 21 schools nationwide with this designation. This is the 3rd consecutive cycle the nursing program has been recognized with this designation. And mercifully, that completes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Moore, and thank you for navigating through those big SAT words. Any questions or discussion for Trustee Moore? Hearing none, we move on to Development and Alumni Affairs. Trustee Freeman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, we had a good meeting real quick, and I only had one member that was not here. But we had a good report from Mrs. Lawrence Stanton for the events. There's no events for right now from the foundation for the month of fall, but she will be sending out what events will be held in the spring at our next board meeting. For the Education Foundation, a couple of gifts. The Clarice Fine Arts Annual Scholarship. That family has donated before, but now they just started a new full tuition scholarship, and it's going to be one per year. Also, additional gifts for the scholarships can be the Kirby STEAM Scholarship. Second one would be the Care First Tim Brown Nursing Scholarship. One scholarship would be for undergrads would be $1,000, and then a full tuition for anyone that's invested in the master's program. Just to give you a speed up on the Tim Brown Nursing Program, many of you all know Mr. Tim Brown was a public safety officer here, and then also he was part of the physician assistant, I think, program here. And he was a very, very dear friend of mine. He was in my wedding and everything else, so I'm glad to see that program comes up. Also, the Cloud Nursing Support Program, and then the Enterprise Mobility Scholarship is there. Next is Regional Community Affairs. We're having a Steve Gately Gallery, and it's called In the Tall Grass and dedicated Strong. It's going to be October 19th to, August 19th to October the 9th. Next is going to be a Performing Arts Center, new season's release, Don Filler. Going to be September the 7th, which is going to be next week on Sunday. Center for the Child Management Enrollment. The classes are full, close to nearly, I think, 40, 50 people. The Local Government Leadership Institute begins October the 1st with 44 people have registered for that program. Also, the Fred Shaheen Nonprofit Leadership Institution begins September the 11th with 33 has been registered for that. Alumni Affairs Report came from Mr. Lee Daughtry. The events are coming up on that. It's going to be October the 3rd. The Midland's going to have their after hours event. It's going to be at the Still Hands Brewery. I think he said he just announced that as of midday today, and they've already had like 7 to 9 people that have already registered for that. So anyone you all that's in the Midlands area, please try to attend. November the 12th is going to be the Lifetime Membership Oyster Roast. That's an annual event now that is held here in this building, and it'll be subsequently the day before our board meeting, and it's definitely very well attend. Anyone you all that's not a lifetime member, definitely will see you here to join at the same time. We give you free oysters. And then the senior toast will be December the 11th, which is 2 days before commencement. That's for all the seniors that are graduating 2 days before. And then last but not least, capstone, where there hasn't been announced yet. We're going to be announcing, I think, Dr. Daughtry, tomorrow or sometime next day or two is another travel event. I have a flyer here. It's called Christmas on the Danbury. I think we have had 2 people say they have actually experienced the trip. It's going to be on a cruise. It's going to be like 9 days, 2 days on land and 6 days on a cruise ship. And the cruise ship looks very, very nicely. This travel does include airfare this time, which makes it very, very attractive. And you do have double prices and then also single prices, or if you want to take whoever you want to take. And so, without further ado, like I said again, see Mr. Lee Daughtry for any more information, but that will be coming out as of the next day or two. And that, Mr. Chairman, concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee. Any questions for development or alumni? Hearing none, we move on to Financial Affairs and Facilities. Trustee Ken Jackson.
Thank you. We received a budget summary report from Dale Bridges, and we're early in the budget process year, and everything is on track. And as projected, we've received all the state appropriations, so that's a good thing. We also continue to have strong support for our student financial aid with 82%.
Can I get you, I noticed from the back row, it's hard to, could you speak up just a little?
Yeah. Sure. 82% of our students receive some form of scholarship or financial aid, which is very strong. Also, we received construction updates from Ralph Davis, a number of projects, as you all know. Dr. Carter's going to speak more to some of those. We have one action item we'd like to present. That's Resolution 925, which is the approval of utility easement. This is just a utility easement to Duke Energy for electrical service to the Forestry and Environmental Service Building. So that's really not an option. So I'd like to present that and get your support. And that's
Trustee Jackson makes that motion with unanimous approval from his committee. Do I have a second?
Second.
I don't think I need to read it again, do I? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
And finally, our housing occupancy is up 3% this year, which is good and encouraging. So that's all we have. Thank you.
So the resolution was approved unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to Student Affairs and Athletics, Trustee Jones.
I might stand up because I feel like with my back to everybody, they may not be able to hear me. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Student Affairs and Athletics met this afternoon. We were joined by Dean Latasha Brand Ford. I'll have to get used to that. And our Athletic Director, Murray Hartzler. We first got an update on Student Government Association from our SGA President, Isaiah Davis. He's not here, but he wrote a nice letter. I'm not going to read the letter, but I will read a brief excerpt just to let you know what they're thinking about. Our executive team's initial priority is simple. Too many students attend FMU without knowing that SGA exists or that they have representation. We intend to change that. In the coming weeks, we will host Sundays. That's with an AES, like ice cream sundaes with SGA, an informal event that will allow students to meet our newly elected senators and executive team. Following that, we plan to foster community through events like a campus-wide trunk or treat, which will include student organizations and provide another opportunity for connection and for engagement. Then Dean Brand updated us on student life, which is well underway. Welcome Week 2025, kids just coming back on campus. Had a big First Friday event. I imagine many of you guys were there in attendance. Looked like great weather, food vendors, music over at the Griffin Athletic Complex. So that was a great way to start the school year. Fraternity and sorority life is kind of kicking back up and getting underway. Recruitment is already underway. Recently we had a fraternity event called Burgers and Brothers, so trying to create awareness around Greek life and get more interest going there. Next, we were updated on athletics by Athletic Director Murray Hartzler. Fall sports start tonight. Men's soccer is at home tonight at 7 o'clock, just across the way. And this weekend we have volleyball and women's soccer on the road. 181 Francis Marion student athletes were named to the Spring 2025 Conference Carolina Presidential Honor Roll, including 36 with a perfect 4.0 grade point average. 83 Patriots were among those receiving 2025 Division II ADA Academic Achievement Awards. 8 teams received Team Academic Awards for 24-25. Those teams were baseball, volleyball, golf, men's track, men's tennis, and women's soccer. So congratulations to all of those. Lastly, this year Conference Carolinas had an inaugural Strength and Conditioning Coaches Award, and that was awarded to Francis Marion's own Dion Edwards. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Jones. Any questions, discussion? Hearing none, we'll move on to the President's report. Dr. Carter.
Sure, Mr. Chairman. First of all, let me thank Charlene and John and Sharon for their presentation on the strategic plan today. Let me remind everybody here, not just board members, especially board members, but everybody else as well. If you have any suggestions to any of those 3 people, sit down with them and let them know what you'd like to see or what you'd like to have tweaked in the existing strategic plan. remember, we've got 2 years. 2 years from now, we'll be submitting our accreditation reaffirmation report. So, you know, we really wanted to devote this year to getting all the stuff done we need to get done on paper, so next year can be devoted to writing up that report and getting it submitted. Program preps this year will be focusing largely on the development of the PA program and the forestry program. That's, you know, the provost and I talked early this summer. We talked about, Alyssa had raised whether or not we would want to go forward with any new programs this year. Well, I think this year's really devoted largely to getting those programs in shape so we can open the doors next fall and admit entry classes into forestry and PA. We've looked at those programs for a long time. We're excited about those programs, and it's time for us to really kick it off and begin. By the way, I do want to point out we've hired 2 wonderful directors in those 2 programs, 2 chairs for each of those departments, and I think we'll be well served by the leadership that we have there. We've, with a lot of work on Mark's part, I saw him back on the, Mark Blackwell on the back row. He's worked hard in getting our international studies centers up and about to kick off. We did Walsamaka last year. We look to do PEI and Landau this year, and maybe look to do Thailand next year if we can get the money and the time and everything worked out on Thailand. That would give us 4 very, very good programs that would truly give our kids the opportunity to go any place in the world they wanted to go. Certainly with regard to any region in the world they wanted to go. So we're very excited about that. Our finances are in as good a shape as they've ever been in. I spoke to the faculty when they returned about where we stood financially. I've spoken to the board about that. Right now we have about $29 million in what we call unallocated contingencies. Those are operating reserves, about $29 million in those funds. And then the foundation now, we've hit an all-time high. Our foundation assets total $58 million. I know many of us years ago sit around the table together and we're scratching our heads about trying to figure out how we could move above $7 million, and we've gotten there. We've at least got enough money now that I think we can count on enough interest coming in on the principal to fund a fair number of scholarships, and that's made the difference with a lot of young men and women across the PD region. Let me talk about construction projects for a second. Ken had asked that I just briefly go through these. The Floyd Medical Center, that project is well on the way now. If anybody's been down to Sheva Street and Circle Park, you'll see the old building's gone. That in itself was one heck of an improvement, removing the old building. If you stand in front of the old building, you'll see a kind of pictorial of what the new building looks like. You note that we tried to catch the essence of the old building. It's a little more Art Deco. It's a little more attractive for that period. And I think the community is going to be very, very pleased when it sees that building go up. Now remember, that building will house the 3rd and 4th year medical students from USC, School of Medicine, MUSC. It will house some of our own health science students, and it will house conceivably some of the residency students that are both at McLeod and over at MUSC. So there'll be quite a gang of folks in there when they're all situated. But let me also say this: I feel very, very strongly about this. you know, like many of you in this room, I've worked with the medical community around here for a very, very long period of time. I like the idea of nurses working alongside physicians. I like the idea of physicians working alongside nurse practitioners and PAs. I think it leads to a better understanding of what it takes to take care of a patient. I've never really liked this notion of some kind of hierarchy, because a young physician will tell you in a second, if they have a question, they're going to walk over to that nurse practitioner and ask them what that question is. That's the way medical education ought to work. Buildings like this, with all those folks working together side by side, ensure that that becomes a part of the educational process. I think this is going to be a very, very successful program because it courts that kind of collaboration. Renovation efforts are underway in Founders, or about underway in Founders. We'll begin that process in Founders in a few weeks. Right now, the contractors are still working on the final plans and acquiring some of the supplies and other things that need to be part of that renovation replacement effort. Founders will be followed in pretty quick succession by McNair and Leatherman, the renovation effort over there. And then, of course, now that we have the money for Hyman Fine Arts, we'll be working on 3 renovations, one after the other. They'll overlap by about a semester each. So, assuming that we were fully underway with Founders by January, I think you'll find midway through 2026, the end of 2026, we should be coming well into the McNair Leatherman period, and then the following year we should finish with Hyman Fine Arts. Of course, we're also this year asking for $5 million for the renovation of the library. So that'll add yet a 4th renovation onto that process. And I think one thing that Ralph has discovered, I know I've discovered it, probably Daryl's discovered it, and everybody else, it's a lot more difficult renovating a building than building one from scratch, okay? Because there are people in existing buildings that have to be taken care of and accommodated. And in an existing building, you don't really know what your needs are until you open up that wall and go behind and see what kind of shape the building's in. But I think right now, 80% of the money's there to do that renovation, and hopefully we'll have all that work done within the next 3 years, those renovation projects. Let me talk about duck ponds for just a second, okay? Our newest love at the university, not necessarily ducks or ponds, but duck ponds taken together. As I mentioned to the faculty when they returned, and I've mentioned to the board, the next conservation purchase for the state of South Carolina will be right over here, okay? It'll be essentially 8,600 acres along the Great Petey River, extending from the Marion Bridge all the way north of the I-95 bridge. And I have every expectation that Francis Marion University will figure prominently in the future of that property. I have every expectation, hopefully, that property will be conveyed to the university, and that will be the site down the road for our field forestry instructional efforts and our field environmental science instructional efforts. If so, that will increase the size of the university from about 1,000 acres to about 9,500 acres, which is no small increase. But more critically, it will give us an enormous area to develop a lot of our outdoor instructional efforts on without essentially having to drive 30 miles to Dillon County or Marlboro County or someplace else. Not that there's anything wrong with those counties, but if we can keep those areas within 3 or 4 miles of the university, it'll make it much easier to ensure that we're doing good instructional work there. Finally, a couple of other brief items I want to mention are commencement. Okay, our commencement, we're having one commencement this fall, and I just want to address that for a second. We think now, coming out of COVID, we kept 2 commencements because we wanted to make sure we got past COVID with everyone still appropriately separated and being comfortable with that. Now we're at the point where I think we can take our fall commencement, which has a smaller number of graduates, and do 1 commencement in fall and then 2 commencements in spring. So we're going to proceed forward with the support of the board. We're going to proceed forward with that route. Our commencement this December will be December 13th at 10 a.m. Our commencement speaker will be P.J. Browning. P.J. is the president and publisher of the Charleston Post and Courier. Some of you know this. I'll simply provide it for your edification. PJ was instrumental in bringing the newspaper over to the PD region and other areas of the state. And it's during PD's leadership of the Post and Courier that they won the Pulitzer Prize for covering domestic violence situations in South Carolina. She is an extraordinary journalist, and I think she'll be a very, very good speaker for our students. Now, we're going to give another degree at commencement, and let me see if I can make out the name here. Murray Hardsler. We're gonna give the grand old man of FMU athletics an honorary degree in recognition of the more than 3 decades that he's worked here and the fine job he's done running our athletic programs. Well deserved. Mr. Chairman, that ends my report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Anybody have any questions? President Carter? Hearing none, I don't have any unfinished business that I'm aware of. Speak now. Any new business? We have no need of an executive session. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you. Have a safe trip home.
Thank you, sir.